Evidently, we're having a couple of tech issues here, folks. Welcome in. It's RGR Football. It's Monday night. That means it's your Q&A. Hopefully, my mic will keep working here. Going to be a fun one because we're just going to take it easy. We're going to sit back and answer all of your questions all night long. Every super chat gets an answer, so hook us up here. Get your questions in. Every topic I will try to address as well. Dan is doing a family thing, so it's just you and me tonight, and we're going to get after it. I'm looking forward to it because I do like the nights when we can just kind of chill and relax and talk to everybody. Even when I remove myself from the screen. Now, I'm sure we'll have some visuals as we go through the night, but really, this is about you guys and about answering the questions. If you don't know me, I'm Ryan Tracy. This is my channel, Ryan Going Rogue. And tonight I am rogue. I am solo, so we're going to have a good time. Now, I'm a little under the weather, so mind the voice. Apologies for this. I am going to be grabbing your questions here solo, so that might slow me down a little bit. But if you listen to Mr. Mayor, I would appreciate it. Hit that like button. Get subscribed to the channel as well, because that goes a long way towards helping us out. And, there's plenty of great questions and honestly not a ton of clearer answers in here. So nice to see you guys. Steve and Doxter and Caroline and our admin extraordinaire Gary's in the house. Nice to see you guys. Steve Harold. Okay, I'm stacking your questions here now, folks. So Terry, hope you're doing well. Mr. Mayor, Sly James, thank you, sir. Nice to see you. Hope everyone's doing well, Terry. That is from me to you. Doxter's in. Old Minotaur's in here. Always got to make sure you know where Minotaur is because you're going to get something. And cheers to you, Doctor Who. Hey, Doctor Who says hi to everybody. They're out there in the other room getting crazy, so who knows what's going on. When you have kids, you just never know what's going to go on. So if I get interrupted tonight because there's crazy children running around, apologies. So thank you, Doctor Who, also for, I think that was either Minotaur or Eric. There's a lot of folks giving away the other night, so we very much appreciate it. We had a great draft weekend, ton of content, ton of folks in here giving their opinions. I just want to take the temperature now, like before we get into the questions. How do y'all feel a few days removed, right? Because the more that I look at it, the happier that I am. We're still going to try to get with KCSN guys post-draft. I have some travel I have to do at the end of this week, so maybe next week after, we'll try to figure that out, just so we can compare notes. And Sean, you nailed it. Old school is about the way that you describe me about everything, pretty much. At least that's the way my wife does. So at this point in my life, I have to. So it is what it is. Adam, thank you. We're going to get to you, pal. Appreciate the super chats. Let's see here. Only Knives, Mayor James, Peyton. Okay, getting you guys all in here. Hold on. There's that one. Mr. Mayor, again, thank you for the support, sir. Appreciate it. And we'll start. And FLDB is throwing some out here. A lot of people want letter grades for drafts and that kind of thing. It's always a tough one because there's an initial grade right now. Like, what do you think of the selections you made versus the field that was the draft? You can give a grade for that. That's certainly feasible, and I'll tell you here in a minute. But then we got to go back and we got to check. Like, not just next season, because first season, the leap from year 1 to leap 2 is usually the biggest, right? But then you got to check in year 3, especially for some of the more cerebral for me, like quarterbacks, corners, positions that need a little bit of development, so that's always a tough one. But I would say in this, especially like I like Ashton Gelati, have liked him for quite a long time. If you guys didn't know, got some questions on social and probably should have put this out there before. This is why I like Ashton Gelati, because he's been consistent. He's been just a pressure hound. And I don't think that sack numbers tell the whole story. Getting pressure on a quarterback is the name of the game. When you're in the vicinity, when you're in the ballpark, then you can come home with sacks. Some years it's up, some years it's down. But Gelati has always been a guy that is always cranking. And his arms really rarely showed up on film. I know everybody's concerned about it. I know some people that I know are concerned about it. Not me. I actually found him when I was scouting Yaya Diaby. And you guys know how I feel about Yaya. Wish he would be in Kansas City as well, or would have been out the gate. And so, like, I was watching him intently, and Gelati kept popping. And you always hear those stories about I was watching one guy, and this guy kept making plays, and that's absolutely true of Ashton Gelati, and that's why he got on my list so early, and why I was so over the moon when they picked him. Would I have picked him that high? Probably not. I probably would have waited a little bit. I don't think you had to take him at that spot. You likely could have traded back, but at the same time, if you like a guy, it's not like the Breland Speaks thing where you're trading up to go get somebody. If you like the guy and he's there, take him. I don't think that that's a big problem because you risk it after that. So that's how Gelati became one of my favorites. Now, is he my favorite of this draft? It's debatable. I think for the value, he could end up being the greatest value here because you did spend a lot of money and a lot of concern and a lot of time on Josh Simmons. But Josh is probably it because to get a guy that if he hadn't been injured, if COVID had come back or whatever, and they canceled the season after 5 games and we got a quote unquote full look at Josh Simmons, he would have been the best tackle in the draft. And for the Chiefs to get him at 32, as if they just won the Super Bowl in that slot, it makes a lot of sense to really see where that goes. And Adam, thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, this is remarkable. Jeremy has been here forever and is one of our greatest Hall of Fame fans here, supporting us over 4 years, 52 months in the memberships. And that goes a long way to supporting the channel, keeping us going, and we really appreciate it. So Josh, I think, may end up being the biggest value when we look back. But Caroline, nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. And Caroline's going to have some content out on NFL 33 real fast, folks. So make sure you go get subbed over there. I had tons of people sub this draft cycle, and you're going to continue to get more. We'll have some of my takeaways. Caroline's doing hers. We're going to bring in some fresh voices as well. Dan and I are going to be continuing to do this. Dan's taking a night to be with the family. I don't know what event it is, but it's a sports event, as it should be. So you got to give him his due for being with the little ones. So role for Bringstool. And do you think he pushes for a roster spot? That's the big question. Honestly, I think it hinges on specifically where Wiley is in his recovery, because there is a case to be made that Wiley doesn't have to be ready this year, might not be ready this year, depending on the severity of the injury. Obviously, everybody heals at their own pace, that kind of stuff, right? So let me bring up the depth chart and we'll take a look. And kudos to our friends over at Our Lats, because they do a great job. I'm going to hit refresh just to make sure that they got it completely packed away. And we'll take a look once I present the dang chart. Okay. So if I do that, we'll get a better look at it. And so what we see here is that, man, that still is not terribly big. Oh, and I hate that. That sucks. Okay, so that's going to be a problem. So let's go to a different view real quick. Sorry, guys and gals. We'll go here. There we go. You need less of me, more of the board. So when you take a look at the tight end group in particular, if I use the right mouse, we get over here, and there's a ton. I mean, they need 2 rows just for tight end on this board, and that's really saying something. So obviously, Kels is Kels, no Gray's no Gray. Everything after that's up for question. Firkser actually played a little bit for the Chiefs. He got some snaps, and he's got a ton of experience. They brought in Robert Tonyan, has a ton of experience, right? I don't know how much juice he has left, but he does. And then Kupp, who I think has potential, and I do like him, and the aforementioned Wiley. Now, when you look at this, age is a factor with both Firkser and Tonyan. Trey Watson, I don't have a ton on, so I'm not sure if he's really ready to push for anything. So it becomes about the upside. Kupp, Bringstool, and I think Bringstool it has the athletic potential to be a pass catcher in this offense, hands down. Better than I thought Wiley did when Wiley was drafted. But Wiley's here, and they have a draft pick invested, and that generally does help you make the roster. So I could see if they keep 4, that Brinkstool could be the 4th. He could beat out Cup if Cup doesn't take a step forward. If Wiley's not ready to go, you might see both of those guys. And I do think Brinkstool has an outside chance right now at making the roster. I feel like, especially in the pass game, he's going to be able to step in and make an impact and really solidify himself as somebody that they could go to should they want to. And I think in the end, they'll want to. So that's my initial thought on Brinkstool. We'll see what he looks like once we see him run around at OTAs and those kind of things. Steve, can you tell us more about the 2 UDFA running backs we signed? One is big, and they're both fast. Okay. So let's get to it here. The UDFAs are not on here, and I don't have the full UDFA list in front of me. So give me names, and I'll circle back to it. And in the meantime, I will try to hunt those down because it's always a little bit difficult to know who you're talking about. When stuff's changing pretty fast here, I will try real quick and find that while we're talking about them. Who's got it? See, now I'm back to the old ways. You guys see? We'll go to Charles's site because he's pretty good at that. This is just as they happen, right? So it hasn't been 100%. Running back CB. Oh, and I suppose I should share this screen as well. Let me change this so you guys can see it. And we'll go here. Boom. Okay. So this is the screen we're looking at. Take that up in size. So Brandon, good size, good athleticism, linebacker. There's the punter. DLCB. I have not seen the running backs yet. Badger, you guys heard my reaction to that. I'm pretty happy about it. Pola, I really like. I felt bad for the quarterback. I don't think the quarterback's got a shot. Izzard, I really like his acquisition. Elijah Young. Okay. I have on the other laptop, I have the matrix here. And I don't know that I have a full set of data on Elijah Young because I don't believe he actually produced a score on the matrix. Always difficult if you're not going to be able to test fully. So if I missed a pro day or an update from him that would have made the difference, then I can look. So bear with me here a minute. And we'll get these. And I do not have a full set. So I don't have a matrix score on Elijah Young. And see, we have Austin Quaylen Jones. I thought I had partial data on him as well, but I'm going to have to double check that. So I will try to do that and have an update for you as we go, Steve. And Dan's going to be doing some breakdown. I'm going to try to look at Norman Lott here tomorrow. I should be able to take a decent look tonight. It's going to be late, but I'll try to get some content for you there. Adam, thank you, buddy. Appreciate your support and the super chat. Who's your favorite UDF pickup, and who do you think would be the best shot of making the 53? Well, right now, Brinkstool is probably my favorite because I have him as a 4th-round draft pick. I like Pola quite a bit as well, but I would say the guy that has the lightest road in front of him because there isn't a ton of competition with guys that could make the roster is Keziah Izzard, the DT from Penn State. It's maybe right now the most depleted position in this group. Now, obviously, you brought in Norman Lott, but you're still talking about guys making the roster that couldn't make the roster last year, and they're a year older now. So that always makes things that much harder. Let me get the screen back up here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And so if we're talking about, where's a spot you could make it, Norman Lott, Jerry Tillery, Dan's not even sure Jerry Tillery is going to be able to play. And anything beyond that, Chiefs kept 5 at training camp last year. My guy, Fabian Lovett, I hope that he's taking a step forward. I haven't seen anything on him, but Marlon couldn't make it. Siaki Ika couldn't make it. Tough to project that. Mike Pennell should be a rotational player. So there's an opportunity at defensive tackles. I think, Adam, that's probably the best chance right now to get there. So let's hope that he does. I'm pulling for him. I want to see somebody make it. What's your favorite UDFA? Did you like the Chiefs signing? Generally, I have liked the class. Now I had to take a step back. Wasn't feeling that great. Always post draft, I get a little bit run down because we're up so much and so long. So I'm just kind of going through here to see if anything's changed since the last time I looked. And so far, it has not. I'm just double checking here, and I don't know why this isn't loading. Maybe I should try that. And maybe I'll give Charles a little help. Maybe it's an ad thing. Versionly, Chase Davis, another kicker. Interesting. Spencer Petras. Alfred, I saw do some good things on the film when I was watching our other guy. Tristan Sinclair, interesting dude, kind of smaller, but, you need somebody to try to keep pushing the other linebackers that are on the roster. Jake Roberts, got to be a fan favorite, right? South of Mizzou State. People got to love him. Trey Watson. Marvin Grant was solid. Oh, there it is. There's my favorite. Camp invite. Jared Casey. Fullback / tight end. Can do it all. Move dude. I like that. And for right now, Terry, he's going to be my favorite. A-graded draft for the Chiefs. Yeah, I mean, it's right up there. I would tell you that I would grade it just at a B+, only because I think Josh Simmons is going to be an epic player for this franchise. I think he has a chance to be an all-pro. There's also a slim chance that he could have a setback in his healing or something and never really reach his potential. So, I would say 20-30% all-pro chance, 5% setback. So I can't give it a full A+ because of that. I try to be realistic with this, and that's kind of where I'm lying right now. Mayor James, thank you very much. Appreciate your support and for being somebody that grabs the draft guide and everything else. Always a lot of support, and I thank you for it. It's a lot of fun around here, and especially since you've been here for so long, we really do dig having you around. Info, who wins the tight end 3 battle? Wiley, Ferguson, or Briggsville? Right now, if Wiley's healthy, I think he should be able to do that. I would put Tony and Ferguson as behind both the young guys, would be my opinion. But until we even see where Wiley is, we just won't know. So let's see how OTAs go, see if he can get out there, if he's running on the side or if he's on the bike. We'll be able to garner some things, and we'll have thoughts. Chris, what holes do you think the roster still has that need to be filled? That DT spot, I do think, still has room, especially if some of these gargantuan guys that just got drafted knock veterans off their rosters. Look for them to pick it up. I think that could be a pretty easy functional pickup that might get playing time. Let's see, where else? I kind of feel like running back set, but I could be wrong. They could want to make a little bit more there. And I don't know. It just feels like there's plenty of guys in here at wide receiver. So I kind of feel like they're set there as well. Safeties. Yeah. Cook, Edwards, Hicks and Bush. I would put Chamari back over there. That's my personal feelings. I think Chamari's going to end up being more of a safety role again. With Fulton and either Noel, maybe CRW, rounding out the top 3 corners, guys that would make it. Mayor James, thank you. Good question too. I know not every draft choice will make it, but I'd sure like to see each and every one of those picks on the field. They all have something to offer. I completely agree with you. And especially the way the Chiefs were able to give away picks, to move up, to reduce their total number of picks. I think that really does tell you that they also feel like these are the guys they wanted in, and these are the guys that have a chance. Now, will they all make it? I can't say that, but we can hope. And I think that would be great, because if you get all your draft picks onto the field in a given year, it means that that's just less cap space you have to fork over for veterans. And these aren't huge signings, but as we bring in 1-year deals on veterans, it always eats into the cap. And I think especially as we're going forward and some of these guys have to get paid, I hope that the Trey Smith contract gets worked out. If not, it does carry some pressure with it. So we want to keep getting younger and better and have, the top 10 are going to be the top 10. But positions 11 through 53, if you can be younger, you're definitely going to be cheaper as well. And that keeps your total cost down. Only Knives, do you believe that the roster cut down this year will be tougher than past years? Maybe not tougher overall, but different. I think it's clearer up here, especially at wide receiver, right? I mean, you have your top three, Rasheed, Brown, and Xavier. After that, you just spent a draft pick on Royals. Maybe not as high as you spent on Sky Moore, but Royals is going to make it pretty much no matter what. Will Juju? I don't know. Will Nico? I don't know. But the rest of it does seem like it's pretty straightforward. I think Sky is going to be the big question that we'll probably be talking about for most of this. The O-line with Simmons on board, I mean, it makes life simpler because you know who that's going to be. More quarterbacks in camp than I thought, and when you already had 4 that I thought you could roll with. So that might be a slightly different sensation, having to make some of those cuts. So it seems like the difficult decisions are just moving to new positions, maybe than what we've seen in the last couple of years. Peyton, thanks for being a member, buddy. Appreciate you. Hey, Ryan, I feel like Simmons won't play this year barring injury. With that said, who of the drafted players do you think will make the most impact this year? That's a great question. And I have to say, oh, hey, I have a surprise for you guys. I was wrong what I said before. Momentarily here, when I take this down and we go to different kind of thing, like bam.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hey. I'd warned everyone stuck with me tonight. So
yeah, well, when T-ball games go like 2 seconds, like maybe 30 minutes max, it makes it easier to get out and do what you got to do.
Well, that's good. I hope the little one's doing well.
Yeah, showering right now.
Go rock and roll. All right, we got time then. Watch that hair, kid. Who do you think will make the most impact this year? I hope that you're right. I hope that Simmons doesn't have to play. If Simmons has to play, it's because he looks fairly healthy and something's gone wrong with one of the other tackles. That's the life of it. If the plan goes to fruition, Jalen Moore should start every game. He should look great. And they'll deal with the next problem next year when Jawan is out of a contract, and then you'll deal with who goes where. But if Josh Simmons is pressed into playing because they need him, it's because something has gone badly for the other 2 guys. So let's hope that gets avoided. So who makes the biggest impact? Is it Noah Williams, who might have, again, because of the positional stack, the best chance to start of this group right now? I don't know. I in terms of like production per snap, it might be him. I think in terms of like the big flash plays, I'm guessing Norman Lott, but that's my thought. How do you feel, Dan?
All I can tell you right now is that Jalen Royals is 1 injury / suspension away from being an impact player. He is. And okay. I'm gonna be unabashedly homeristic with this take because he is the guy that I loved since I watched him. And you can clip this, you can do whatever you want to. If he comes in and just doesn't do anything, I don't care. But I'm going to go down swinging with Jalen Royals because of the yards after catch stuff, how he is a perfect fit for this offense. And again, it's just 1 injury away with, let's be very honest, the guy who pretty much can't stay healthy, and Hollywood Brown, an injury. I mean, hopefully none of this actually happens. We don't want that to happen. But yeah, for me, it'll be Jalen Royals. I think he's going to have the most impact. And I mean, hell, he might not even need any of that to be impactful.
That's true. I mean, there is plenty of opportunity for him, I think, just in a traditional sense. The top 3 are the top 3, but as you said, there's always some get up and go. And I really do think that at this point, unless you earn a place on this roster just because you're a previous past draft pick, doesn't mean you automatically get one. So
agreed.
That's where we're at. Peyton, thank you for the question. That was a good one. And I appreciate you. We'll get some of Dan's opinions going here, and I'll stack more questions.
All right. Jeremy, which UDFA are you most excited about? That's another one. Here we go. It's Brittingstool. I'm most excited about Brittingstool because I don't have a clue why he went undrafted. If you guys got the guide, you saw where I had him ranked among the tight ends. I believe I had him at tight end 4 in this class. And that's how strongly I believe that he can be a legitimate route runner in the NFL. Is he going to be, like, I guess, one of the top blocking tight ends? No, I don't really care. I don't need him to be that. I need him to learn from Travis Kelce for a year. That's all I need. If he makes the roster, which I expect him to, I think he is going to be the guy that can run routes, can catch the ball over the middle of the field, can go up and get it. He has the second best ball skills at tight end in this room already. He already does, in my opinion. So again, I think that he's. I don't think this is all that far off, by the way, in terms of movement skills and zone feel. I don't think this is all that far off, Knives. I really don't.
I agree. I said that if Wiley has any kind of hiccup, if he's not 100% ready to go, raring to go, I think he's got a shot at making the roster right now today. Like, no couple of weeks on practice squad and then call him up or nothing. Like, he could get in there, start making catches. I think that's easily predictable. Ryan Woods, thank you. If you could rank the NFL teams on graphic grades this year, what would you rank the Chiefs? Top 5, 6 to 10, etc. Where would the Chiefs lie? That's a good one.
I think they maximize their value.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be able to put them in the same ranks as teams that had a bunch of picks and really knocked out of the park, like the Eagles and the Patriots and the Bills, who I think all had very good drafts. But the Chiefs, I think, were able to maintain maximum value. Again, I know it's based off of my board. They got top 100 players with every one of their picks except for Brashard Smith, but he was a 4th-round player for me. Like, the value they got with everything they had was immense. So it has to count for something.
I agree with you. Like, they were targeted. They were clean. Yes, there's some risk involved with taking Simmons.
For sure.
Yes, they took guys maybe in places that weren't quite the draft value. But as you said, we both had Boss in the top 100. We both had Williams in the top 100. So they got value all through the rounds. And that's sometimes very difficult to do. So I would say overall, they're probably in the top 5. They might be right in that 6 to 7 range if I really took the time to rank them all, but I don't care about all the other teams as much. So I would probably just stick with that. How do you think Norman Lott can be next to Chris Jones in defense? And do you think he will be a full-time starter? Thanks, Cold Ape. I appreciate you. I don't think he'll be a full-time starter initially. He was a heavy rotation. They ran they ran in waves at Tennessee.
Yeah.
He had the least amount of pass rush snaps, I believe, in like the top 13 or 14 guys I graded. So like his play capacity, his work capacity for number of snaps is lower than some, but that's okay. I mean, just like Ashton Gelati, they're here for one thing. They are here to provide pass rush that the Chiefs have not had from that position in a long time. And so I think he'll be able to make an impact without having to be a full-time starter.
And that's, again, the idea. This is an upside play. The Chiefs need someone to replace Tershawn Wharton. They don't have anybody. And Norman Lott can give you some of that now. And they're projecting that he can be better, at the same level, if not better, than Tershawn Wharton was when he went and got paid. That's the idea. It's never for the Chiefs, actually, it's almost never we're just going to draft you at your floor, and then we're going to hope that you just come in and are a really good player. There's a couple of those guys that they filled out their roster, but they needed actual explosiveness at the defensive tackle position that they could really stress quarterbacks. if you look at the way that their defensive end room is built, it's based off of pocket collapsers, pocket crushers, guys that win late. So what do you want to help that with guys that win late? Ones that can expose the quarterback and move them out of the pocket to right to the guys that win late. That's the idea. That's what they want to do. And then they bring in Noah Williams to combine with Trent McDuffie and Christian Fulton to get better coverage so that those guys that win late can help get to the quarterback. It's all a process. It's all a process to try to maximize the guys that they like on the defensive side that have that versatility, but also can still get that explosiveness.
It takes a group, right? A pass rush front is how you win. I think they add to it. Perry liked the draft. Am I wrong for wanting a better running back? I mean, I can see where you're coming from. Yes, I wanted somebody to really put the pressure on the linebacker level with speed, in particular, if they can get to the edges. Now, Smith can do some of that, but he's not, obviously he's new to the running back role, but he'll do the other thing. And if you think back to what Jet McKinnon did in particular, the release valve, the wheel routes, the flat routes, all the things that were, hey, even if you sit back in 4-man deep cover zones and you take away the top, we still have a guy that can win one-on-one against your whatever guy you put on him. We're comfortable with that. I think Smith can grow into that role. He's really good now, but I don't think he's there. But by year 3, I think he can be that extension of the run game that Andy's always talking about that can really exploit the linebacker level.
And that's what you want. You want to find one-on-ones. This is all matchup based. You're going to hope that you're going to throw out Travis Kelce, maybe all 3 receivers, and then you're going to get Smith on the field, and you're going to say, guess what? You have a safety or linebacker on our running back. We want that matchup. We like that matchup. And that's the idea. It's all about the matchups. And I think that's how Andy Reid structures the offense with guys that can play everywhere. They want guys that can play everywhere. So if they get a matchup they like, we can go to that. And Patrick specifically has talked about getting through his progressions this year. I know that we said that last year was all going to be that, but when Reid and Veach came out before the combine and talked about how sometimes he's just holding the ball too long, and Patrick comes through after the draft or during the draft or before the draft, and he says the exact same thing. You think they've had a conversation about what he should be doing? Yeah, they absolutely have. So I think that this new offense for 2025 in terms of new just is going to be more positionless football, which we've seen it with basketball. It's become kind of a positionless game. Bigs are shooting threes. Right now, the Chiefs don't play with bigs. That's not how they win. That's not what they want. They want yards after catch because of the way the defenses are structured. So it makes sense.
Yeah. And I hope Brett or Brett's assistant or Patrick or Mrs. Mahomes, whoever's watching us, start listening a little earlier because we told you that week 2. We could have helped you get a little bit further there. You didn't have to wait. We're here. We're immediate feedback for you, I promise. Thoughts on Lott and Jalot's potential for year 1? Fans hating the picks. I don't get it. I'm really not sure because a lot of folks had Norman Lott going in the first for a very long time in this process. And my guess is it's because of the inconsistencies. Jalot, people want somebody that's more flashy is what I would say. He still has good bend. He has good torque control through his torso. He runs a sub 7 3-cone. You just got another sub 7 3-cone rusher, and nobody cares for some reason. I'm not sure what it is. I agree with you, Chiefs fan. They both can be very good. They're going to be sub-package players that I think can provide, 20, 25 pressures this season on top of what Chris and George and Charles and Mike Dana do. What do you think?
That's why they're upset with the picks. Because they're not guys that are going to come in and be difference makers. I have some news for you guys. This was a draft that was not full of difference makers. It wasn't. The difference makers were gone in the first 20 picks, and the Chiefs got a difference maker if all the injuries go away and he's healthy. He's a difference maker. Outside of that, you're looking for players that fit your scheme or that help you maximize your scheme. I'm almost done with Jalot's with all of his tape. And that's what he is. He's a good floor player. I don't see much upside, but he's a good athlete. He gives you a lot of effort. He's got pretty good hand usage for a guy that gets inside the tackle far more than he needs to. Dude, you need to play a little bit away. You got to get away from the tackles. They're going to eat you alive in the NFL. But he's a smart football player. What do you think Spags loves about football players? Why do you think Nick Bolton got paid? Why do they love Justin Reed type players? They're smart, cerebral players. Ashton Gillott is a smart, cerebral football player.
And he's got a hell of a motor. They teach him a few things.
Yeah,
he's going to be able to take that next step. And I think that's great. The other thing is most of the guys that are super impact players, especially the pass rushing positions this year, are guys that don't play in a system the Chiefs use. That's why somebody went and spent an enormous amount of draft capital to go pick up Pierce from Tennessee. And by the way, yes, I think the Falcons had the worst draft. But not a fit for Kansas City. Too late. There was way more 3-4 outside linebackers than there were actual pass rushing defensive ends. And yes, I'm just counting everybody from Texas A&M. So it was difficult to get what you needed in order to have that huge impact.
Yeah.
Knives, explain how you think Gelati will be, please. I think he's going to be a beast. He will. He has to be supplemented. Like, I'm really looking forward to when they start running some delay stunts so he can circle inside of George Karlaftis and take that next gap, because I think that's where he can really be effective, going off the tail of somebody that's garnering the tension, right, and drawing the doubles.
I like his lateral explosiveness. I don't think he's explosive linearly, because for whatever reason, I just don't see that. I see the lateral explosion. So again, like you said, if you get someone going to a gap who loops around, I like that lateral explosion, because I think step 1 to 2 from base, it's quick. That's why he's got such a great 3-cone, because he has that lateral agility, that ankle flexion. So I'm not going to tell you guys everything I think about him right now, because we have the film review coming on Wednesday. Right. But I do think that if we all watched him before the draft, all of us, we would have said, he's going to be a Chief. He's going to be a Chief. Like, that's what you would have said. And everyone was telling us George Karlaftis was going to be a Chief. And guess what? He was a Chief. Not many of you watched him, which I understand. You played at Louisville, but even I didn't watch a ton of him. And if I would have watched more, I would have been like, that guy's going to be a Chief. And guess what? He's a Chief.
Well, and he knew it apparently, because literally 5 seconds after selection, he had everything red and gold on
already.
So that was pretty good. Well, thank you, buddy. Appreciate the support and for being a member. Wanted Casey to take Darius Alexander at 63, but in the days since the draft, I've gotten really excited about Omar Norman. Do you think his ceiling? What do you think his ceiling is if Casey can help him reach his full potential? Full potential, quite honestly, this is going to sound like hyperbole, and Dan, you might not agree. The problems that I have with Omar's film are nearly identical to the problems I had on film for one guy named Chris Jones. He takes plays off. He's inconsistent. He doesn't play the run because he couldn't care less. Chris Jones grew into an elite player. He has the pass rush skills that Chris Jones had in college. It's what he does with them now to grow, in my opinion.
There is a reason that he's now paired with Chris Jones, guys. That's no mistake. There's no mistake in this. There's none. And yes, I know it's a lofty expectation. That's fine. But you're not looking for Chris Jones. You're not. You're looking for somebody that can grow into, again, what Tershawn Wharton was last year, but better. He can provide that. He can absolutely provide that. And I think what we've seen from Wharton, from Mike Dana, from FAU is what you should really be harnessing and focusing on. These guys all got better against the run within a year of being in the program. Yep. That is one of the big question marks about Norman Lott. It's not really about the physical pass rush stuff. He's got all that. It's about how effective can you be all 3 downs and how do you want to play. That's one thing we have seen actually stick along the defensive line.
Yeah. And man, I hope Chris sees a little of himself in Omar like I do, because I think that might turn it into, as much as he's buddies with George, like that's going to turn into like, come here, little bro, you can do exactly what I did.
If they aren't like bunk bed buddies in training camp, I bet you I would be willing to bet they are. I think that he's going to be putting his arm around that guy's shoulder. He's going to be taking him on as a project himself, which Watch out if he does.
I like it. Dub Freak, thank you. And thanks for all the support over the weekend. I'm glad you were here and for being a member. So this one's for you, Dan. Sell Bossa to me. The only pick I'm not fully convinced of.
That's fair. I understand that. He's a former safety. Smart player. You're not asking him to be anything but what Willie Gay was in terms of get downhill quickly and in coverage. They don't need him to be anything else. Because you want to know something else? Guess who was also a former safety that learned how to play the run better? Drew Tranquil. You guys noticing a theme here?
Right.
Norman Lott reminds them of Chris Jones. So let's put him in the same room so they can learn. Ashton Gelati is good friends with George Karlaftis. Their game is reminiscent, and they train together. So they're in the same room together. Bossa, really smart football player, ex-safety. Guess who else is on the roster who's really smart football player and an ex-safety? They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the nice thing about Bossa in particular is that he's right in the middle of the athleticism matrix. Like Willie had good initial speed, right? Willie could corner and he had good long speed if he got up to speed. Bossa's like in the middle of that. Like it's his intermediate explosion up to the 20-yard mark that he's excellent at. Actually accelerates a little bit better through 20 than Willie did. He just can't top out like Willie did. And honestly, Willie didn't get a chance to use that much. So if you're talking about linebacker levels, the way the Chiefs use them, it's 20 yards and down. We're not asking them to run the gauntlet down the middle of a Tampa 2 for 35 yards. You know, it's not a requirement here. So knowledge, and he's a little bit beefier. What did he come in at, 235?
I think so.
He's beefier than you think he is. He can take on and make better tackles. It's a nice tweener look, I think. Again, hybrid look, I should say, between what Nick is with Nick's shortcomings in the pass game and what Tranquil and even some of the safeties like Hicks are in terms of coverage. He's right kind of in the middle. He's part of that paradigm.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it, just talking about it. So thanks, Dub Freak. Chris, thank you. What player do you see the most snaps on offense and defense? The most snaps of the draft picks, I assume you're saying. I think the most snaps on defense will go to Noel Williams. And then you tell me if I'm wrong, Dan. I think Dan's right, and I think Royals plays. I think he gets the most snaps of the offensive rookies.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be any question, at least right now. Now, I will say, if Brashard Smith takes to the offense,
yeah,
don't be surprised if he's their clear third down back. The only thing about that is that they might have to wean Kareem Hunt off first because they want him in there for pass protection duties. They do. And that does mean a lot to them. So Brashard Smith is going to have to get better. Again, the want to is all there, all about the technique. I think he's got the play strength enough to do it as well. It's all about figuring out the technique stuff. So if he takes to that quickly, but even if they don't, I would not be shocked if he started to be much more involved in the offense than Jalen Royals is, especially if he's starting to take the offense really well. But he's the guy off the bench right away. Jalen Royals is the guy. Like, if you need a break, guess going out there. But also, I think that Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, and Jalen Royals on the field at the same time is so tough to cover. They can attack any part of the field. They can get the ball short to intermediate, and they can attack after the catch. I like Hollywood Brown, but he's kind of more of a possession-ish guy to the middle of the field, used more for speed downfield as a decoy. But at the end of the day, this wide receiver core is fun. It is damn fun.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good time. And I'm here for a good time. That's the way it works. Terry, did Georgia and Ashton play together, or are they good friends? They're pals. I believe they have an agent in the same group, and they train together off season.
Yeah.
So it is good stuff. And that breeds, I think, an easier transition to the league too, if you know somebody that closely.
Yeah, for sure.
You can work with. I love the draft and the UDFAs they picked up. My only disappointment is them not picking up Ja Joyner after the draft. That's fair. You know, everybody's got a couple that they would have liked to see. I'm actually tickled that the Chiefs got a lot of the UDFAs that I would have gone after.
Yeah.
Usually I'm sitting exactly where you are, Jacob, and being like, hey, why didn't you go get my guy? You could have had him for a song, but they paid what they played Bringslow? Like 200.
It's like 2 points. Yeah, something. He got a lot of money. I'm telling you right now, he's making the roster. I would put a lot of money on him making the roster. I think he's that good.
I like it. Do you think Spags sees a little bigger Osi Umenyiora when he looks at Gelati? I don't. Osi was the classic Spags, super long, little bit thinner, narrowed shoulders. To that first step because he had legs up to here.
The speed of power, man, it was insane, dude. It was, and I'm not saying that Gelati has not got speed of power, but it's not even close to the same.
Who's the middle backer Spags used then? The guy with the hair.
I don't remember.
Oh, I'm gonna go look him up because obviously Gelati has the hair, but like I think it's a pass rushing version of that dude who made some plays. I'm gonna go look that up because now I have to know. What do you think of Jeremy's?
Jeremy, thanks for being a member for 52 months. That's just insane, man. Insane. Thank you so much.
He's the king.
Really, he is, right? Really excited for Noel. We needed a ball hawk. I'm so excited for Noel. They grabbed him right exactly where I had him in the 3rd round. And honestly, if I knew the Chiefs were drafting him, I probably would have a 2nd round grade on him. That's like the perfect fit for the Chiefs. He's going to give them exactly what they want in a good tackling CB that gives you press, physical man on the outside. I'm going to say it. He's the L'Jarius Sneed replacement. He's the L'Jarius Sneed replacement. Wow. He's gonna press into guys. He's not gonna back down from anybody, and he's gonna go up to the line of scrimmage and he's gonna try to put you in the dirt. I think they can get that out of him too. And then he's better in terms of ball skills. I'm just gonna say it. In a few years from now, don't be surprised when he's the guy that looks like L'Jarius Sneed.
I am 100% here for that. I'm not having any luck because my search keeps returning San Francisco Giants. So feel free to go on and I'll keep looking.
Yeah, no problem. We got this. All right. Thank you so much for being a member for 52 months again, Jeremy. Whew, that's insane. Pepe, how does Simmons compare with last year's offensive tackle class? Okay, this is a good question because last year was considered to be an excellent tackle class. And again, I would have had Kingsley in the 1st round this year. Josh Simmons would have been a 1st round pick last year too. If he played a full season, he would have been a 1st round pick. He probably would have gone in front of Talisi Fuaga, who went to the Saints in like the top 10, I think, 100%. If I'm not mistaken. And that's saying something because again, I loved Fuaga. I loved him. So
I didn't, but I agree with you. Would he have beaten out Alt? No. Alt was a little better rounded. Although I would say this, I would have been having the argument that Simmons is a better fit for the Chiefs offense than Alt was because of the foot quickness and the smoothness.
Yeah. I agree. And is this the guy you were talking about, by the way?
Kiwanuka. Yes. Thank you.
There you go. What a pull. What a pull.
Oh, you are the man. Yes.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Old Paths, that we just got to that before you hit the super chat. But thank you so much for the support. And yeah, you're absolutely right. What a couple of pulls there. Honestly, the name is very familiar now. So that I get that. That was really when I started paying attention to football and remembering some of that stuff. So thank you so much. That's awesome. Great to see that.
But do you guys see what I mean? Do you agree as well? Or did you just remember the name really easily?
I just remember that I don't remember play style very well yet. Like that's
okay.
I'd have to go back and watch again. Like that now, by the way, guys, now that I have a little bit more time in my hands, I might do something like that.
I didn't tell anybody anything. You can make your announcement.
I'm not making an announcement yet. We will later in the week.
Okay. And now all the pictures that I pulled up of Kiwanuka, he cut his hair. Now I'm pissed.
Oh, that's ridiculous. I appreciate it, Old Paths. I love that. We always need someone a couple of people that have like that vast wealth of football knowledge from now through like the 80s and 90s. I love that kind of stuff. Chef Boy, do you think Ashton is better than Mike Dana? As a pass rusher, absolutely. I don't think there's much question. He understands how to use his body and use. It's one thing to have like a bag of tools. It's another thing to be able to use them to access your speed to power and know how to counter off them. I think he knows how to do that. I don't think Mike Dana knows how to use his hands. I still think he doesn't know how to do it.
He's still working on it. Mike is an effort pass rusher.
Yeah.
Ashton has technique and enough explosiveness, enough hand violence that he gets by without the arm length.
Yeah, exactly. The difference from Mike Dana, when he hits the long arm, he creates space for himself. When when Ashton does it, he really doesn't.
Where'd who go?
It's sad. He's like, "What are you trying?" The tackle's like, "What are you trying to do, dude? Like, what are you doing?"
No, that's
my job.
Chop.
He gets to it eventually. Slammin', when will Royals jersey be available? I don't know. I don't know when they release jersey stuff. Do you? Any idea?
They do the rookie. What do they call that? Rookie summit or something like that. I want to say they do that here OTAs time. So my guess is by probably end of May, June. I'm not 100% Sammy, but I'm guessing that's about the time.
All right, cool. So yeah. Just keep an eye out. And if somebody in the chat is paying attention and you see it go up somewhere, just kind of hit us up on Twitter and we'll put it in the chat or on something so we kind of know. Slamming here with a $2 super chat. Can you touch on who is a 1 or 2 year deal? Do you mean specifically for like UDFAs or just who the Chiefs have on a 1 or 2 year deal? Because I don't really know the context of the question.
Yeah, I would like to know that too.
And I just have to be really quick.
Here's the thing. I just pulled it up too. So Ashton came in at one measurement was 31 7/8. The other measurement was 32 even, right? Mike Dana measured in at 32.5. So it's a half-inch difference. So if you're really looking for length, you have to use that as well. Now, Mike had a little bit wider shoulders, right? So his wingspan is a little bit bigger than Ashton's as well. But it's not drastic. It's not like we're talking 30-inch arms. You know what I mean? His arms are a half-inch shorter than Mike Dana's. That's the way it is.
I'm just going to say it on tape. It looks far less. It does not look long to me. Like it looks like he doesn't have length. Which again, it's all about how you use the hands. And I say the same thing for tackles. You know how to use your hands. I'm less worried about the arms. The only problem is the speed to power, being able to create that extension, and that's why I talked about him getting too close to tackles at times. So we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
It'll be great. It'll be great.
Okay, so this is what he meant.
Okay. Who could we be losing in free agency next year? Oh, okay. So who's going to be a free agent next year? Let me pull that up, Dan. And
yeah, no problem.
Throw it on there.
By the way, there you go. Everybody, there's the quote. And that's actually factual. It is absolutely factual in all walks of life. So you all remember that.
It's not just ball.
Oh man, we are behind. I have derailed the show.
Just rip it, man. Just rip it. I'm going to pull up the free agents. I'll jump in when I get it.
We'll get to it. All right, Scott, who is the biggest surprise steal? The biggest surprise bust? So the steal, or specifically for the Chiefs, is Jalen Royals. I mean, he was, in my opinion, a top 50 player, and they got him in the 4th round. And they didn't even have to trade up for him, which was insane to me. So I'm not sure. Biggest surprise bust? I don't know. I don't like to do that. Are you just? I'm not about that life, Scott. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not about that life.
Okay, I got it. Here
we go.
So, I didn't mean to take down.
Oh, you're fine. You're good. You're good. Don't worry about
it. So these are the guys that are out of contract next year. They include all kinds of stuff. Like Kelsey's contract is up. Marquise, Menahue. I don't know why they have Josh Simmons in here because he will not be free agent next year, but that's fine. Yeah. McDuffie and Karlaftis obviously have the 5th year options that they can lay on them. Elijah Mitchell's on a 1 year. Jack Cochran, Najee Johnson. Oh, they have all the rookies listed in here for some reason. Malik Herring, Jerry Tillery's on a 1 year. Winchester, Moore's out of contract. Kareem Hunt's on a 1 year. Brian Cook is falling out of contract. Mike Pinnell's on a 1 year. Juju's on a 1 year. Tui's Palooza's on a 1 year. Mike Edwards is on a 1 year. Leo Chanel's contract will be up. Dion's on a 1 year. Tanyan's on a 1 year. Robert Rochelle, that's the guy I keep forgetting. He has great athleticism. He just has not grown into the technique that he needed to find. So that's going to be a tough one. Tycon Thornton, Zappy, Christensen. Joshua Williams' contract will be up as well because he's part of the group. Darius Rush is on a 1 year. So those are the guys that are looking at. You see how long that list is. This is elite stars combined with some 1 years and as many rookie contracts as you can get.
And there it is. Running it through. Thank you very much for that, Slammin'. DC, sorry. Did you guys see Jared Casey got a minicamp invite, the fullback coming back? So I did see it. Obviously, Ryan, as soon as he saw he's got fullback like Spidey sense, he just kind of knows. Anytime a fullback is brought to the roster,
tight end, he could do it all.
And that's fun. I'm excited for it. I don't think it makes the roster though, so it doesn't really matter.
It's all right. I can keep him on the practice squad, and I'll be perfectly fine as long as he's in camp. And I have Carson. We can battering ram. I'm perfectly fine.
This one's for you.
Watching the film on Burchard, he has real potential to make some impact in many ways. His early highlights in Miami are great as a gadget and a returner. C grade though. I didn't give him a grade. Wasn't honestly high enough on my radar. Dan does all the skill positions. I just do crosses and the guys that really stand out to me. I will say this. I did watch a little bit of Miami, and I certainly watched last year. And I still think that in a lot of ways, especially when he's handed the ball, he looks like a wide receiver trying to be a running back. That's okay. That can come along. Andy Reid is really good at that. You got to remember, Tyreek Hill was a running back when he came to Kansas City. Like, coach can coach. And I think, especially, you guys can have the argument about Andy Heck, but a lot of coaches on this roster can coach guys into using their natural abilities pretty easily. And I do think that includes Matt Nagy. So I agree. He's got a lot of potential. What I really want to see him do is get to the point where he can take the tosses and the counters and go outside. I don't have to have him run between tackles because you got 2 or maybe 3 guys that can do that for you already. Yeah. I need him outside making that defense scream. That's what I need.
That's all you want. You want him doing some of that.
That is what she said. Why you got to say that stuff? I'm working.
I disagree a little bit with Ryan on that. I think he's got better running back feel than a lot of guys that played wide receiver last year. So, and that was at the Senior Bowl. So it's possible that they were coaching him to be in a better system, be in a better spot than SMU was. You have to take that into consideration too. So you don't want to just kind of go with everything that was done at SMU. I liked watching them at the Senior Bowl. You get a little bit more of what coaches in the NFL are going to ask you to do. So that was probably more so. Ryan unfortunately couldn't be at the Senior Bowl. Maybe he would have felt a little bit different had that been the case. But Dr. Who, Veach said they did a ton of work on Josh Simmons with the injury concerns. Do you think it was an unusual amount of research or normal for the first round? Oh, it's normal for everybody.
I will say this, though. It did feel as it went on that, like, they were like, oh, wait, maybe we can land him. Maybe he is okay. And it felt like they accelerated a bit towards the end. What I heard was that they were on the phone, video phone with him, like, the last 4 days running up to the draft. That was a little bit like, okay. Oh, hell, we are going to push this a little bit.
They must have, again, I've said it for months. They were the only team in the position that felt comfortable enough to draft him because they didn't need him right away. Every other team that drafted a tackle in the first round needed them to play. Every single one.
And I'm convinced, looking back on it now, that, like, remember when we were all crying, like they won't spend, they only spend $15 million a year on their left tackle. Well, I think they planned for their left tackle to eventually be their right tackle because they knew they had a shot at doing this. That's how it feels to me.
My tinfoil hat theory seems to be coming along very, very well.
Tinfoil works, I'm telling you. Stop.
Dr. Who, thank you very much.
Sorry. The wife thinks she's funny tonight. She's cracking jokes.
It's fine. I'm sure she is. We've spent time together. She was funny. What is the strongest position on the roster right now? Oh, what is the strongest position on the roster? Got to be between outside of quarterback. It's got to be between defensive end and wide receiver. And I'll probably go wide receiver.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that weird? Maybe.
It feels weird. You're probably right, but it feels weird to say. We've been so worried about wide receiver for the last 3 years. Juju's probably your 4. I don't know if Sky's going to be good enough to make the roster. We're going to have to find out. Like, there are still questions, but that's fair.
Juju's your 5, by the way.
Is he?
I would say in terms of talent, but Juju probably starts at the 4.
Gotcha. Okay. That's fair. I won't argue. Because, yeah, I forget about Royals. I'm already discounting Royals. Sorry. I'll stop. So Dan's got his, I've got mine. Thank you, Chris. Gary, thank you, buddy. And everybody give our admin, our moderator, Gary, a hand. Ryan, with all the receivers the Chiefs have now, how many will make the team? 6 or 7? I think they are, and I think they are rightfully to be paranoid about the offensive line. I think they'll try to keep 10 this year again, and I think it'll be 6 receivers, and that's it. I don't think there's a chance for a 7th. And I lost Dan for a minute. We'll get back.
I was talking to Avery because she's not listening to what I'm saying at all.
At least she's clean.
Finally.
What is Simmons' floor, and what would be his ceiling? Simmons' floor, I mean, quite honestly, if he were to have a setback, is a guy that never plays a snap in the league. And his ceiling is an all-pro for 6 years.
Yep, that's true, and I believe that.
Yeah, it's huge, right? High. I mean, the gamut of possibilities. Now I lead heavily towards the positive, but there's always that smidgen that something could go wrong, right?
The risk is real. We like to talk through the positive side, but the risk is real. It's absolutely there. But you bet on it at 31. In this case, 32. You have to for the Chiefs. They don't have a choice. They don't get this type of talent ever. They can't get that high. So they have to. And it is. He is a all-pro type of talent. That is the ceiling.
Yeah. And hey, it's a bet worth taking. Will this be Juju and Sky's last year on the team? I think yes to both.
I don't think Sky's going to make the roster, so I think that Juju, yeah.
What positions do you think still need to be targeted when you improve once roster cuts start? DT, maybe corner. You might see him pick up a vet corner, depending on how the competition goes. I'm really interested to see how this flies. I forgot Darius Rush is even back on the futures contract. So there's a lot of potential in this corner group.
Absolutely. And I think that really defensive tackle and running back are the only 2 places that I would really look hard at improving. Like, I think they're pretty set everywhere else. And I mean, the talent is there for the roster. Like that's the idea, right?
Yeah, I'm with you. Simmons was sure to mention twice the Chiefs had him 4 years in an interview at Chicken and Pickle. Okay, cool. And some early contract negotiating tactic. I mean, they scout everybody all the time, especially when you have area scouts. Now, the Chiefs honestly have had a lot of churn lately. So I'm guessing it was not the same area scout that talked to him as a freshman. I saw him now because there's been so much churn in the scouting office. But Pat Sperduto's still here, right? Ryan Nutt is still here. Yeah. So even if they were area scouts at the time, which I think Nutt still was, like it's progressed through. I wouldn't say a tactic, but it definitely leans towards what you think you can get out of somebody. And it explains a little bit more about why they didn't make a bigger push for Paris Johnson, right? Because they knew where Josh was in the back. So
yeah, I agree.
It makes sense. And I screwed my whole thing up. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
There it is. Good Lord. What else you guys give this draft of being Veach's second best after the 22 class? I think there's a pretty good chance. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we optimistic, right? We're all optimistic about the class. I think it also has just as much as being one of the worst in terms of if Josh Simmons doesn't ever play, if Gelati and Norman Lott don't account to anything. You're talking about 3 guys and a 7th round pick and a running back. I like Rashard Smith a lot, but there's not a lot of historical evidence outside of Isaiah Pacheco to suggest that he's going to just come in and be awesome. Like, I love the talent, but again, there's a lot of risk here. But in terms of what the upside is, when you're picking at the end of every round and you want to trade up when you get the chance, I think that this is just as much of an opportunity. The odds wise, right? We're talking about maybe if again his health stays, I think we're talking about a 50% chance that this ends up being the second best.
Yep, I agree. Corbin, for reference, how does Josh Simmons compare to Joe Alt? Massive difference between the two. I wouldn't say massive, but a decent one. And mostly it is in technique. I still feel like Josh is a little bit frenetic. He's got a better finish to him. Like, he wants to get nasty at the end of plays. All I felt was smoother through his trunk, especially in dealing with counters across his mask and being able to roll with that. His arm length helped there, but his feet were nowhere near as good as Josh Simmons. So it's kind of apples and oranges.
That's the thing. The footwork, that's what you need. If you can't get your feet where they need to be, it doesn't really matter how much your hands are good. Like, it doesn't really matter that much. That's why the Will Campbell conversation was so awesome. I mean, when I say awesome, I mean he was awesome because his feet are great and his hands are great. I don't care so much. Again, he did measure up to be 33-inch arms, so it's not like he's got short arms. And Josh Simmons went 34 and 1/8, so he's got the hand usage a little bit needs to be tightened up there, but the feet are great. So
it'll pay off. I'm pretty confident.
Yeah.
Doxter, did I read somewhere that we're paying one of our UDFAs $2.6 million? No.
I don't think so.
I believe Bringstool has the largest at $235K guaranteed. And I think he got a 26,000. I think it was 26K bonus. Yes, that part is correct if I read correctly. But I, of course, don't have it up. Dan's pulling it up now.
I'm trying.
But I think it's Bringstool that got the biggest payday. Because it was that he was making more than some 7th round selections. I know this is a mute point, but if Green had fallen, do you think we pick him over a lot? I do not. I've heard from several sources that at least half the league had Mike Green off of their boards completely, and I'm sure the Chiefs are probably one of those.
Yeah, absolutely. They wouldn't have touched him anywhere, and also he's not a fit. He's just not
right.
fit.
Right.
He's not the kind of guy that they draft typically. And you're right. It is Bringstool with the $26,000 bonus.
Gotcha. Eric Schneider, thank you, buddy. Appreciate the support. Stick Casey on the practice squad. See, I'm with you. Fullback and force teamer in 26. Rock chalk. I like it, Eric. I'm glad you're here, Eric. I know a lot of you guys are Mizzou fans. You know what? I like you guys too. We gotta have a little Jayhawk joy when we get in the league. Okay. Notorious Melanin. Nice to see you, buddy. Harms, I'm curious about the new hairdo. Am I right to be excited about the newest running back pushing Pacheco?
I mean, I just have a haircut like that's and it's all messy because I had it under a hat. So there's no new hairdo. So sorry to disappoint you there. I think everyone's right to be excited about Smith. I was a big fan, and you should be excited about players that have that kind of juice. But we also have to have an understanding that he's a former wide receiver playing running back. There's possibility that it just doesn't work out and that he's just an outside zone guy, and that's fine. That's okay.
Yeah. There's a distinct possibility that if Elijah Mitchell's healthy, that Smith doesn't make the roster and he's a practice squad player, because Elijah healthy is a better running back and he can catch. You know what I mean? I think it's a bit more of an experiment than most fans want to give for Smith.
That's fair.
Is it money or chance to make a team for UDFA players? Would have been nice to see local guys like Logan Brown and Kobe Bryant. Yeah, but both of them did get signed elsewhere. It's just they didn't fit into these plans.
It's all about your grades on them first. And then the money tells you how much they wanted those players, right? The guarantees, and we've seen those be used. Again, how the Chiefs have used it in the past to get guys that they really, really had high grades on their rosters anyway as UDFAs. So the money tells you how the team felt about it, and then the opportunity cost is there as well.
For all intents and purposes, Smith might have been a UDFA. Most teams were letting him go to that point and probably trying to work that. Yeah. The Chiefs selected him so they didn't have to deal with any of that crap. Because it really is, it's a battle. Like the phones are crazy. Was a busy weekend for me, so I'm still catching up. But were there any UDFA signings that seemed like strong candidates for the 53? So the tight end Bringstool, we've talked a bit about him. He's a pretty good shoe-in. I don't know about the 53, but I think Pollock can grow into a swing tackle. He just might have to spend a year on the practice squad.
I think he can beat out Driscoll. I think he can.
Yeah.
I think he's a better player, and Driscoll was on the 53 last year. The only difference is now you've got 4 guys, quote unquote. He'd have to be the backup. He'd have to pretty much be a backup right tackle or left tackle at this point. And since you have those guys already there, probably more of a practice squad guy. But it would not shock me if they were like, we really like what he offers, and they found a way to snuck him on anyway.
Yeah. I like that concept. I'm really interested to see what happens with Mike Caliendo. Usually they won't cut ties with a guy that's got that kind of experience in the offense, but the young kids are going to be pushing right up his back. It's going to be tough to watch. Thank you, Brand. Chef Boy, do you feel like Noel is more of a zone corner or a man-to-man corner?
I think his best traits are press man and cover 2. I don't really. Honestly, I think he's versatile enough to play off all of them, but I love him as a like cover 2 corner where he can be that intermediate and underneath player because he has fantastic click and close ability, that initial burst, and then also he's just a really good man coverage corner where if he does get beat, he has again that burst. That's one of the things that I really noticed on his tape is that when he gets beat, he has that quickness and that acceleration to get back in the hip pocket to affect the catch point. He's got that ability, which is very useful. You don't see that a lot anymore to guys that have that. So I think he can do both. And that's what the Chiefs need really right now. Guys that can do both and aren't just man or aren't just zone. Because as you guys remember in the Super Bowl against the 49ers, they played zone to start. They switched up and went man. And that's how they beat them. And that's what you have to be able to do. So I think Noah fits perfectly.
I liked him a little better as a man cover guy. He can certainly do that. And I actually think the tween is the part that I wasn't as keen on, right? Because I could see them doing, you remember those things they used to do where they would invert the coverages to the 2 highs and they would run the nickel corner all the way back there? He could do that pretty easily, I think. And his ability in space allows him to get his hands on the ball. He's got great ball skills. So I hope that they try that with him, get him out there so that he can affect the game. That's what I'm looking for. Will Royals end up better than Rice? I'm going to say no.
It's too early to tell with that. I would also lean no. Rice is better than I expected too. So I think that might be used in similar ways at times, which the Chiefs really want to do. But I would say no at this point. But I mean, it's too early to really say.
Yeah, that's fair. But I mean, if Rice can stay out of trouble off the field, on the field, he has the chance to be very, very, very good. Faithful, thank you, sir. Are they set up now for a quicker passing game? I mean, not necessarily quicker. I think they want to get back to deeper, like the 4 vert stuff. They want to be able to hold up and take a last run at Travis, and now with speed at 3 other wide receiver spots. And Royals is good after the catch as well. He's got solid speed. Like if you're putting him in, the only thing is if you have to have Juju on the field, you're not getting a whole lot of speed attack. You're not getting a whole lot of slant action. So I really think they're going towards more of the 4 vert style they were a few years ago.
I think they just want to be able to do whatever they want against whatever defense they see. And then that's the main thing here. I think they just want to be multiple.
Thank you, Faithful. Notorious, thank you, buddy. NFL will get a Super Bowl of worthy round rights. I like that.
I like that. That's really good.
Copyright that name and put it on a brand, bro. That's what you should be doing right now. I like that one. Speedy, thanks, buddy. Call me crazy, but I looked at some Jamal Charles highlights out of Texas, and I saw Richard's tape. I've been watching SMU a lot this year, and I think they look similar. Oh, buddy, I got to tell you, I think that's wishful dreaming myself. But I knew Jamal up close. I used to work the Kansas relays when he was a runner. There's no, I've never seen speed like that on the football field. So if he is, then he's solid gold, and that was the steal of the draft.
I'm sorry, Speedy. I think you're crazy. And that's only because I will never, ever compare someone to an all-time great. And I believe that Jamal's an all-time great. Can I help you?
Agreed.
I see that. That's not.
Oh, she's cute. She got the hat on and everything. Jimmy Graham and Ryan Jensen were 2 Pro Bowlers after recovering from patellar tendon tears. Well, that's good. Yeah, I just heard that the other day that Jimmy's ACL was really a patellar tendon as well. Here we go. We're gonna wrap it up. We got 3 left. And Jensen,
she just stepped on the dog bone. It's fine.
Oh, okay. Jensen's a monster from outer space. He doesn't count. I'm just glad that he's a ginger. We got to keep us going. Brand, thank you, buddy. Did a weekend drive back from Vegas to LA. Oh, okay. I thought you meant from Vegas to Kansas City. I was like, dang, dude. Your coverage kept me sane as I caught up on the picks while driving. Appreciate you both. Well, appreciate you, and thank you for saying it and being here. We very much appreciate you. You guys have been great.
And I'm glad I was able to take a plane back, man. Whew.
Yeah, right? Ooh.
Not want to drive back.
I tell you what, and we appreciate you guys and all your support this year. It's been a tough year for us. We had to do a lot more work than we normally do because of circumstances. but you guys stuck with us, and we were a little bit late getting the guide out and stuff, and that's on me. But I appreciate you guys. So cheers.
Not on Ryan. It's not on Ryan. It's not on Ryan.
Buck stops here in the end, Okay, last question. Thank you guys for everything. Like, sub, hit the bell. Get the goats while they're available. I'm going to keep them up for a while, but I got a couple new things coming. So check in on that. And Ruthless wanted to say, is it me? But Norman Lott reminds me of Javon Hargrave. I can see some of that when he jumps a gap. I don't feel like he's as much bull in a china shop myself.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I think that's fair. I think he tries to be a little bit more technical. Maybe I don't know. Again, I have to deep dive into his tape a little bit more. I'm still not fully incorporated with that, and that's again, I didn't get to him to this year. So I'm kind of getting back around. I've only seen clips and some things here and there. So I try to just talk about what I've seen and try not to say too much. And that's again why we do this. And I'm not going to get to every player. So I think that's always something to remember.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we can go back, and I'll give you guys something on Norman Lott tomorrow. I pulled a few clips while I was doing his field grade. I don't know how long it's going to be because I am really tight for time. I'm going out of town on Wednesday, so I will try to get that to you tomorrow. Dan's film room is on Wednesday, so don't miss that. Speedy snuck one in on me because he does. Well, I'm saying more of a Jamal coming out of college, not the great that we know from watching Sunday. Okay, then I like that better. But the college tape doesn't look too far off. Well, that's fair. The Texas offense at the time looked a little bit off, but that's evolution. And hopefully you get Smith to do something similar. And he's got maybe farther to go because the instincts behind the line of scrimmage in particular, I just don't think are there. But if he can get that, he's got the wiggle, he's got the burst, he's got the long acceleration.
Yeah, it's the space stuff. I understand where you're coming from in that regard, where when he gets into space, it can look like that. Jamal glided in space, though. Smith is still not quite. Even in college, Jamal just glided in space. It was.
He was smooth.
I could talk about Jamal Charles for a long time. We're not going to do that, but I understand where you're coming from in the space regard. So it's better, but I'm still on the end of it. The gliding stuff was just way different than anything we've seen from Smith, but he's still very, very good. Don't get me wrong.
I'm going to look up this last one because I think it's a great question from Bradley. Not just the Chiefs grade. I gave him a plus. Dan gave him an A-, right?
B+.
B+, A-. Okay. But the rest of the AFC West teams, how did you feel? Thought the Chargers missed the mark. I'd probably give them a C-. Raiders, Broncos, man.
Broncos were up. Just another great draft. That's 2 years in a row. I mean, granted, they've really built that team. And I think Sean Payton's done a great job. Again, I've been proven wrong by Sean Payton this past year. And I'll say it here firsthand. I didn't think he'd be able to get back what he had. And I still don't believe in Bo Nix very much, but I think that what he put around him would have been hard for Bo to fail. There was a lot of stability there. He didn't get pressured very much. They had a pretty decent run game. And every time he needed to, he just threw it up to Courtland Sutton and he came down with it. I will say, I felt they didn't need to be drafting Pat Bryant. I thought that was a bit of a miss. There was other better receivers at the time. But even so, I think that he understands what he's looking for in the offense. So I think the Raiders had a fine draft. I think the Chargers had a fine draft. I think the Broncos had a good draft. And the Chiefs had a good draft as well. So we'll find out.
That's fair. I'd give the Broncos a B-. I love the Barron and the Harvey picks for them. Savion Jones, I enjoyed. I agree. Bryant was not my guy, and no. I don't like drafting punters. I'm just going to tell you, you draft a punter, you're not getting an A from me, okay? Raiders, crafty. Maybe the best Raiders draft in 8 years.
We will find out. Again, I'm not a huge fan of them taking Ashton Jeanty at 6. I didn't love the pick. I didn't love it, and that's nothing against Ashton Jeanty. I just don't think he's a top 10 worthy pick. But I understand it. I do. And from Tom Brady and Pete Carroll, it makes sense for what they want to be. I understand their draft. So I think from looking at it into what they want to be, absolutely. It's a really good draft for the Raiders. I personally wouldn't have drafted some of the players that they did. And
Agreed.
And again, I'm not a GM. I'm not in the scouting room. So who the hell knows? But that's
not yet. Not yet. Not yet. I was not a fan of Caleb Rogers in particular, but they went back-to-back at tackle because it was a weakness. They went back-to-back at defensive tackle because it was a weakness. And I personally like both Pegas and Tonka. That was a nice maneuver. Drafting 2 quarterbacks in the 6th round, that doesn't do nothing for me.
Especially when they're not going to play. I understand the 6th round picks, but at the same time, okay.
Might as well pick Shedeur. He's going to play just as much. And that's going to do it for us. Stay tuned as we break down the newest Chiefs. Hopefully they'll get on the field here pretty soon. I'll have to take a look at the OTA schedule. But we got tons coming for you, Gary included. And I hope that you guys have a great night. We will be back tomorrow and the next day. And then we'll see you next week as well. So enjoy yourself. Dan, get your time and, hang out with the little one.
Absolutely. She's almost done brushing her teeth now. So we're clearing up the routine.
Sweet. All right. Have a good night, everybody. We'll catch you tomorrow. Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.